Should you consider playing a Mini Driver? What sort of players are they best suited to and how can you best utilize them? These are the sort of topics we are going to be touching on in today's video. And of course, putting these two head to head. We've got the brand new Titleist GT280.
That sounded way better.
That was nuked.
It sounds really nice at the middle. I don't know what you think about the sound of this, but it sounds so solid.
It does, yeah. It almost sounds, I want to say, better than the Drivers.
It does.
And the Elyte Mini.
Yeah, that's a nice shot.
Yeah, that felt really good.
It's funny, it's a lot less forward, isn't it?
It does look like it goes up more. It's great strike, though. It's like literally bang out the middle.
Yeah, bang out the middle.
In-depth GC quad, data-driven test, as always. And we're going to be flicking the heavyweight from the back to the front on both of these guys and seeing how that changes the numbers.
Obviously, Mini Drivers, they've been sort of heavily publicised at the moment. They seem to be the in thing. You've got players on tour playing them. Mysteriously for like a season without really anybody knowing that they were available. So what do you think about them? What's your thoughts on Mini Drivers?
It's an interesting one. For different players, it's going to be very, sort of like for me, I'm somebody who's always struggled to get my 3-wood speed close to my driver speed, which actually I would say is quite unusual. I would say the vast majority of people that we fit, their 3-wood swing speed and their driver swing speeds are actually very close.
Yeah, I would have to say that.
I actually think, again, depending on how these perform, from what I've seen so far, the TaylorMade burner was low spin. I mean, I did a video on that versus my GT2 Gamer at the time, and the spin was like the same, even though it was like 2 degrees more loft. So it's very, very low spin. So I think for a lot of people, these could basically replace driver, really, from a distance perspective. Because if the swing speed's basically the same and they're the same spin as a driver, they'll go the same distance as a driver.
Yes.
So, whereas I think for a player like myself, I'm not really sure, because I've never been a fairway wood player, to be honest, because I think it's not going to be any straighter than my driver off the tee, really, because I'm quite long, I'm quite wayward. So it's not like a safety club off the tee, and it's not like I'm hitting a 260 to 280 shot into many greens.
Yeah.
So
it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. Because I think if you're a reasonably good driver of the golf ball, like you said, if you're dropping back for a safety club, you're probably you're long enough to probably be hitting a 2-iron or something like that. So yes. At your speed, I think you carry a 3-iron, so you probably hit a 3-iron. So, what is it really for? Is it like a fairway wood replacement? Is it a driver replacement? It's really interesting, I think.
It is,
it's a really interesting one.
So obviously we've got the GT280 13 degrees. This is the only one that they do, isn't it? 13 degrees. So we're going to try and sort of match lofts a bit. So we've got the 11.5 Elyte Mini that we're going to turn up to 12.5. And then this 13 we've turned down to 12.25. So yeah, we've tried to match the lofts as close as we can. We've got exactly the same shafts. So we've got the Denali Charcoal 60 gram 6.0, which is basically the stock in the Elyte, which we had another one laying around. So we put a Titleist fairway wood tip on this one, which is what this is. That is a driver tip, which I don't get that at all. So the Elyte is a driver tip, which makes no sense, really. I think they should have made it a fairway wood tip, because you can't just obviously plug a driver shaft into that straight off the bat, whereas the GT280 is a fairway wood tip, which makes a lot more sense because you can just plug a 3-wood shaft straight into this and it works great. So,
makes sense.
So fitting this is going to be a lot easier than fitting that. But yeah, same shaft, we matched the length, sort of tried to match the loft as close as possible. So yeah, it's going to be really intriguing to see how they perform against each other.
Let's have a few straight ones.
That's never, no chance. It's not bad, it's a bit leaky, but it's a decent strike. It's a decent strike.
It's pretty good.
Does feel good. Does feel really nice.
Yeah.
Well, the GT drivers in general feel very, very good. And this just, again, it is a mini version of that, isn't it? It does feel very nice.
Pretty good strike, mate. Slightly heely. What's interesting is obviously, plenty of club head speed. What are you with your sort of, normally with your driver around 114, 115?
Yeah, probably 115-ish, yeah.
So you'd probably expect with short shaft swing this around 110, 112. It's probably what we're going to see by the time you warm up. Yeah.
Probably 110-ish with a 3-wood length shaft. Meanwhile, these are playing 43.5, so not far off 3-wood length. Ball
speeds in and around that sort of mid 150s, I suppose, mid to high 150s, makes sense.
Yeah.
Good delivery, mate. Interestingly, that spin they are hot, aren't they? These mini drivers, they do tend to be, probably between driver and 3-wood spin. Like we would normally see 3-wood spin, around sort of 3.3, 3.5.
Yeah, anyway, so 3 to 3.5, that sort of range.
Yeah, and then obviously driver can be depending on where you want to optimize. But for somebody like you, you'd probably want to be around sort of 2.2, 2.24, probably at your speed. So. Yeah. So we're kind of, we're seeing quite a nice
bang in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a lovely ball. We'll just take out any that are obviously just like, you know, clearly like misstruck low spinners or anything weird.
I won't hit any like that, mate, so it'll be fine.
while you show that lovely ball. That's a good shot, mate. Really well done. Again, sort of very similar ball speed off of a very similar club head speed. That efficiency's in around the kind of like the low 1.4s, like 1.42, 1.43 is what we've had so far. Kind of what I'd expect from those strikes. Again, spin like within 100 revs of the last one, really.
Well, it's pretty consistent delivery, wasn't it? So 2.7, 2.8 spin. I mean, it's going to be really interesting when we flick these weights apart, because the other day I was hitting some with a heavier weight at the front, and well, probably the one noticeable thing would be the ball speed. So that's going to be an interesting test later on. But yeah, pretty consistent, eh?
Yeah.
Even from a one that ended up 10 yards left, or what was that, 20 yards right?
Yes.
With a very similar strike.
Yes.
And that's, what, 100 rev spin difference?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. That one, if anything, turned over a bit. And you said maybe if that turns over, that spin might drop. But it's maintained in quite a nice window, isn't it, really? Yeah, it's a really nice shot.
3 for 3, mate. Gonna run out of fairway. Oh,
why do you never do these when we play golf?
That's gone miles. It's because we don't play golf.
Hang on, though. I'm just going to let the viewers. We played 9 holes the other day. I can tell you now, he took this club out and it was not this straight.
No.
So simulator golf.
One good straight, to be fair.
Yeah,
good one.
One. Yeah, one.
But to be fair, I only hit 2, so 50% is pretty good.
Spin did drop a little bit there.
Yeah, that was slight toe side, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. 6 mil toe, 1 mil high, so slight toey strike. First couple were just on the heel side.
Yeah.
But even still, like, you know, slightly high toe strike, you know, slightly closed face. Still not getting those knuckleballs, are you? That's still a very functional golf shot.
It'd be interesting to see if I do kind of, I mean, not like you say, that might be potentially where a club like this might be a bit safer. Because if you hit a decent one and it spins at 2.8, maybe start to get away with the misses a little bit more, where I can get the odd high toe one and the spin drops, you know, with my sort of elite driver. You could probably easily get sub 2s, I reckon. Whereas this, I think we might struggle to get sub 2. So that might just stabilise that ball fly a little bit more and just help to keep it on the planet a touch more to make the really bad ones not as bad. Again, how much would that really matter? With me hitting it quite far, if it's offline, it's probably going to be quite far offline anyway. Don't know, but you might not get any of them horrendous shearing ones out the sky.
Well, that's nice.
Fade. That was slightly out of the neck, maybe.
Yeah, I think it may be.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's probably 4 out of 5 that would be in play, which for me, I'm absolutely going to take.
Yeah, slightly heel side, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
7 mil heel. Again, spin did really well, you know, for what felt to you there like a little bit of a fadey, necky strike. I mean, face was a little open and a heel strike.
Yeah.
Only span at 2.9. I mean, and the good ones so far have span at like 2.7. The one that did turn over, slightly toe strike, span at 2.4, just under 2.4.
Yeah.
I mean, that spin consistency, let's say, is really quite good.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, so one of the questions I was going to ask you actually is obviously hitting these shots, does it feel any easier than driver?
Well, no, not really.
No?
I don't think so. So I mean, obviously you can feel it's noticeably shorter, but then the head's much smaller.
Yeah.
As well. So like where your mind plays tricks on you so much in fittings, where you give someone the same length shaft, but it's like the QI35 that's a bloody saucepan on the end of a shaft. They go, it's shorter. Because if it's such a big head, it makes the shaft feel so much shorter.
Yep.
Whereas, okay, you can feel this is a bit of a short shaft, but it doesn't feel like really short because the head still looks very small. And this is a small head.
Yeah, it is,
touch on against the Elite later, but this is a small head.
It is, yeah.
Not like, it's not really mini driver. It's more of like a 3-wood on steroids, isn't it?
I think one of the things we said when we were chatting before the video is that definitely feels more like a big fairway wood.
Yeah.
And that feels more like a small driver.
Yes, the Elite does, yeah.
Even the way they present down by the ball, the head shapes, the stars, I definitely
But I think it's an interesting one. I think like we just touched on it, it ties into confidence. And with drivers, some people just aren't confident.
Yeah.
So if this is going to give you more confidence, great. Whereas I just, in my mind, I just go, well, if you make a good swing, it's going to be a good shot.
Yeah.
It's the same with any club, right?
Yep.
So to a certain degree, a lot of it's bollocks. But because if you do make a good swing, it's going to be a good shot. So you just want to put it into your favour as much as you can. You know, get something that you're confident with and you feel good with. And that'll give you the best chance to make the best swing. But it's just the way I look at it.
Right, let's have a couple more then, mate. I'm going to take a look at the averages.
And that's 5 pretty good shots, isn't it?
Annoyingly, it is, yeah.
So I'm always giving you shit for how bad you are here, and unfortunately, you don't get to.
I know.
You don't get the same joy.
No, the comments are going to be full of like, "Oh, how long you hit it? Oh, how straight you hit it." Yeah, I don't really get much of that, but no. To be fair, mate, that's a really good set of 4 or 5 shots. Was it like 5 now, 5 or 6 shots?
Right, yeah.
Basically, they've all hit within a few yards of the fairway centre line. Very good distance.
Yeah.
Great consistency on spin, great consistency on ball speed. Like, I suppose that's the other thing as well. If you're going to something like this, because you're kind of like maybe taking a step back from driver, like you've got a really consistent ball flight there. Like you know what that's going to do. Like you can pretty much point and shoot that by the looks of it.
Wow.
So for someone who wants to try and find fairways, someone who can be a bit wayward with driver.
Like I say, it's easier near though, isn't it? Generally.
That could be a really good. That could be a really good option for you, couldn't it? Really.
What were the average numbers on those 5?
So yeah, if we take a look at the average numbers, ball speed in around that kind of 155 mark, launching around 12.5, spinning at 2.7, average carry 265, with a total of 288. So you hit a couple there that sort of turned over. Do you feel like that has any particular bias, left or right?
Hard to say, probably without hitting it back to back against something. So it'd be interesting going into the Elite. It doesn't feel naturally. I mean, we've got the loft turned down, so the face is slightly open, and we know I like that anyway, generally speaking. So it's going to be fractionally closed on the Elite, which will be interesting to see. But it sits very, very square, to be honest. Like, it sits really nice. It sits really flat on the ground as well. It feels like the base of it's very flat. So when it sits on the deck, you don't get any like wobble or anything like that. Yeah. The face looks like it sits lovely and square. It's really, really nice looking club. Titleist do nail that, I think, in every area, whether it be fairway woods, drivers, irons. It's just classic and lovely looking clubs.
Awesome. Well, at the moment, it's looking very neutral. So let's have a little look at the Elite and see what that one does.
Just trying to figure out if I need a bigger tee or not. It's kind of like deceiving because this is obviously, I think this is what, 340, I want to say. I did look at it earlier.
Oh, okay.
Should have remembered that. But I think it's 340. And that's 280. So it obviously, like we said earlier, the GT is more of a mini sort of a big 3-wood. Yes. The Elite actually does kind of feel a bit more of a mini driver. It's definitely a bigger head. It sits just taller. Sort of the face looks deeper, which is why I was thinking I might need to go to a bigger tee. It looks bigger front to back. It looks wider heel to toe. It just looks all round like quite a much bigger head. Sounds stupid, but it does look like a mini driver. And really, really nice looking as well. Sits, even though we've got that loft turned up slightly, which we know would probably kick that face in, close it fractionally, still sits super neutral, like does not sit closed at all. Sits really, if anything, almost still looks like it sits a little bit open, to be honest. But it's nice and neutral again, sits lovely behind the ball. It's just that bit of a bigger head, really. But they're both, honestly, like absolutely lovely looking.
Yeah. It's worth mentioning as well, adjustability-wise, right? So obviously you've got the hosel settings with Titleist, you've got the hosel settings with Callaway, but obviously you do have the weight track at the back with Callaway, which is interesting. So you can move that little bit of mass around heel to toe. Yeah. If you were dialing it in a fitting, there is a bit of an advantage, I suppose, in the fitting element by having that.
100%. You
can change, obviously, Titleist weight at the back and the front, but you can't go heel to toe with it. Yeah. So you are kind of restricted to just front back modifications.
We could test that. We're not going to do today because I don't think we're going to have time hitting wise. But if you want us to test the heel and toe weight in this to see how much really we could maybe see left or right bias, let us know in the comments. But yeah, no, you're right. It's great added functionality to have in the Elite. Actually didn't feel like as good a swing, but of course I've hit it straight down the middle. But
I think that was pretty good.
It wasn't bad. I just slipped a little bit.
I know we were talking about this the other day when you were hitting it, when we got it out when it was delivered, we got it straight out of the box on a go, and you could definitely hear that whistle.
Yeah.
Back here. Yeah. And I don't know why, but to me, that really is pronounced to me being back here. Yeah. So I can definitely hear it.
I did. Yeah. It's like after when you just said that, I was like, yeah, I did hear that. And I don't know if I've never noticed that on the big drivers though.
No, not me. No, I've not noticed it, but I really noticed it with that mini driver. That sort of like an audible whistle,
high pitch. Yeah, let us know if you hear that in the audio. But that's going to really annoy me now. It's probably going to put me off. Cheers, mate.
Well, what's really interesting, you mentioned there about not so good a swing, but club head speed is pretty similar. Ball speed actually a slight jump, 156. Efficiency 144. So really, it was It was really good.
Better efficiency, just more spin, wasn't it?
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah, a little bit spinnier. Yeah, a little bit spinnier. 3.2. So that spin has kicked up a tad. Again, like carry, you're talking like 260. That's within 5 yards, I think, of the average. So it's pretty good. Don't say it didn't pick that up. That was really good.
What happened there?
That's random.
That is very odd.
Oh, it has picked it up.
There we go.
Okay.
Just a delay.
Quad
I was going to say though, I thought that was quite straight, but I thought I necked it, and I did neck it a little bit.
So I think what it was is quads just getting confused because there's too many straight shots in a row from Ross. So yeah,
it's got to be a robot. It can't be me.
Actually, though, it's very similar to the first shot. It's really, really interesting how consistent those spins are on both those models. I mean, now that's span within, I would say, 50 to 100 revs of what that just span on the first shot.
Yeah.
Ball speed within a couple of miles an hour. That was a slightly heelier strike as well.
Yeah.
So again, we're talking about that spin consistency across the face.
Really solid.
12 mil heels, quite a big heel strike.
Yeah, I felt that straight away. I was like, it's a bit necky.
Which is really interesting, isn't it?
Again, I mean, that as a shot, you're going to take that all day long.
Oh my goodness, yeah. 254 straight down the middle.
Yeah.
Don't
mind that.
Yeah. I mean, you're having a good swing day, I would say, so far.
Considering I'm still partially hungover from the weekend, I'm quite impressed.
Yes. There was a little bit of bank holiday fun by the sounds of it.
Yeah, extremely rare I go out nowadays, to be fair. So when you do, you maybe have a couple more than you should, and coming to your mid-30s, your hangovers last about 3 weeks. So.
Well, maybe you should play golf when you're hungover, make it at the moment. Seems to be working for you.
Not going to be any worse, is it?
No.
Not going to be any worse.
Yeah, good ball.
That's kind of probably a bit more like that third Titleist one I hit. It was maybe a little bit more high toe.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really similar. I'll be intrigued to see if the spin drops as low, because obviously that did drop to about 2.324.
It has, yeah.
It has, yeah. So that's interesting. So I would say strike-wise, I think that other one was maybe a couple of mil high and about 6 mil toe. So you're within a mil or two of the strikes.
It never really looks that bad on the graphic, but it definitely felt like it's a bit high toe.
A bit more high toe, yeah.
Definitely.
You're someone who can hit it a bit slightly high toe with driver. You can get the odd one you don't like to see, which is that one that kind of overdraws.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at that, it's finished 7 yards left of the target line.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a high toe with a slightly closed face.
Yeah.
I mean, that's done exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Efficiency. I mean, we did have the 144 at the start, but it's up there, isn't it? 142. It's barely dropping.
Yeah, not bad.
Just the numbers just seem so consistent.
What was the strike like compared to that one where I hit the Titleist?
Yeah, so I think it's within a mil. So that's 2 mil high, 7 mil toe. So if we go back to the Titleist, that's 6 mil toe, 1 mil high. Yeah. So you're talking like 1 mil further higher, 1 mil further toe in the Callaway. Very similar results though in terms of where the spins drop to.
What was it? 270 carry with the GT280 and 267 with this. Like, it was very, very close, wasn't it?
275, 267. Yeah.
It was a little bit longer then, so we got a little bit more launch out of the GT280, a little bit lower spin out of the GT280, and a tiny bit more ball speed out of the GT280. It's interesting how those small combining factors actually. I mean, that's not far off 10 yards, which is not nothing.
No,
but the strike was very similar, like you say.
Yeah.
And it's like little things like that, like a little bit more launch, a little bit lower spin, a little bit more ball speed. So yeah, I don't know if it is maybe a hair longer, GT280, maybe a fraction. I think it probably is.
Yes.
But we'll hit a couple more, but
yeah.
I think it's got a tiny bit more in the tank maybe.
Well, I think when we were hitting them the other day as well, because we wanted to sort of get to know these before we did the video, but I would say it felt to me when I hit it as well that the GT280 just had a slight jump on it.
Yeah.
Not massive, but it just felt a little bit more forward.
Yeah. That's more my miss, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a slight overdraw, bit of a pull. You'll get away with it on this hole because we've...
Yeah, to be honest, that spin did really well because I knew that was straight away. That was me. I got a little bit more like just under that one. Didn't cover the ball with my chest very well. Got underneath it and just closed the face fractionally.
Yeah, strike was still pretty good though, mate. It was just really face. Just face got a bit closed.
Yeah.
Strike was 3 mil high, but pretty much dead center left to right. So pretty good.
That 2-3 spin.
And 2-3 spin. So again, for a high on the face, closed face strike, I don't know, like I'm starting to think like that you might have been in trouble with that with your driver.
Yeah, potentially.
Do you know what I mean? Where that spin is just retained in the sort of mid to low twos.
Yeah.
With your driver, I don't know if you did that. It'd be 1900, 1800, and it's probably like gone, isn't it?
That's an interesting point, absolutely. I mean, that's 26 left, which It
borderline.
Depends on what hole you're on.
Yeah, borderline.
Really. It depends on what shot you're trying to play. I mean, to be honest, that's one thing that we didn't mention earlier that I did say, to be fair, we set my Elyte up to be a fade machine.
We did.
I almost cannot really draw it. If I do draw it, it's way too low spin. So it's fade, 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 fade only.
Yeah. This is your Elyte driver, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, the Elyte main driver.
Yes, your
fade,
proper driver.
I won't draw it.
No.
So my only thing with this, which could be this or a 3-wood, to be fair, I don't think it really makes that much difference. But I actually would probably feel more confident striking one of these than a 3-wood, I think, for me, just because it's a bit of a bigger head.
I think so.
You could easily set this one up to be more draw bias, easy to turn over, but not too low spin. And then this is like my draw tee club, and my driver is my fade tee club.
Yes.
Like, I quite like that, I think, as a setup on course. That's probably going to bring the average back down a little bit from that big pull draw I hit a second ago, because it's a little bit of a high right one. Again, I mean, it's certainly in play, isn't it? It's not, not in any trouble.
100%. I mean, that was...
Any bit Healy, not bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's 19 yards right at 257 carry, 276 total. So you're right edge of fairway.
Yeah.
Even on a pretty tight hole, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's not got a huge amount of shape on it, is it, really?
No.
So even the miss is like, it's missing really well.
Yeah.
I mean, that was Healy and slightly open again. Yeah. So you've had a toey close one and a Healy open one.
Yeah.
And you could argue that one that, that was toey was 26 left. Okay, you might have had to be aiming up the right to hit a draw there to be safe. But, I mean, all of these are pretty much in play.
Yeah.
You're certainly not losing any golf balls. I mean, even if you're hitting that 26 left on a tight hole, you're still in the rough. You're not OB.
Yeah.
But again, that spin kicked back up to 3-1. So yeah, if we jump over and have a look at the averages, I would hazard a guess that the Elyte's probably just going to be spinning a little bit higher generally.
Yeah, well, I feel like there was 2 slightly lower spin ones where there was only 1 lower spin one with the GT280, but I do feel that last one I just hit there with the Elyte maybe averaged it back out to be somewhat fair. Yeah, that's probably not unfair, is it?
In terms of ball speed, I mean, there's nothing in it, but the reality is a lot of that's going to be coming from dynamic loft, head design. I mean, these are quite similar. They're set up for a similar player, aren't they? We've tried to equalise them as best we can as well to make the test fair.
Loft-wise, yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me to see a very, very tight ball speed.
Yep.
I don't think we expected to see anything massive different.
No.
Again, launch is in a very similar place for the same reasons. Yeah, I definitely think that the spin is probably a hair higher with the Elyte. I think generally speaking, there's better strikes. They were sort of up and around that 3,000, if not slightly over.
I think hit for hit, yeah, it was probably like a 200-300 rev difference, I reckon.
Yeah.
Like Elyte's just a fraction spinnier.
A couple hundred revs, yeah, it's kind of what I would have said. Yeah, and a carry-wise, you're talking 261 to 265, so very similar. Both sitting in a window, you could argue that would be right between sort of a low lofted fairway and a driver for somebody at your speed. I mean, that would be sat right in that middle.
And it's still certainly enough, because I feel like with my swing, speed getting up to probably 115 with my driver, that spin probably more around, let's say 2.3, 2.4. It's probably more like a 285 to 290 carry. So it's still 20 plus yards back of my driver.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I'm quite big to flip these weights around now.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can get out of them.
So we'll go GT280 with weights flipped around to start and just get a few shots for that.
Yeah. That was really well hit, he says, not in the most confident manners.
Yeah, that's definitely had a jump, so that'll be interesting to see if that spin came down.
It did, yeah, but I don't really... It doesn't look that... The strike felt quite different. Like that, it looks like exactly the same. It felt a little bit more different.
Well, it's funny because we mentioned about the first strike with the GT280 in the first set. That's almost a carbon copy again. 6 mil heel. That's basically where you hit the first one. I think it was 6 mil heel, 1 mil high, or 1 mil low. It was very, very similar in terms of heel side. Very similar ball speed. Maybe you could argue a mile an hour more, maybe. But yeah, that spin has definitely come down.
On that one, yeah.
Yeah, it's because I think we were sort of sitting around that 2.7, 2.8 pretty consistently in that first set. Apart from that one high toe ball. That's 2.4 from a heel strike.
So we'll get a couple more. So I think this is why it's so hard to do proper test comparison, because I hit it, I was like, you're talking 4 mil strike, half a degree face.
Yeah.
It's enough to make a huge difference, which is,
where
we like to try and give the best factual data we can in tests, which is not easy. It's not easy at all, because...
That sounded way better.
That was nuked.
It sounds really nice out the middle. I don't know what you think about the sound of this, but it sounds so solid.
It does, yeah. It almost sounds, I want to say, better than the drivers.
It does. Just sounds really sort of compressed and like...
Probably the best one of it with this setup anyway. I mean, that swing felt good, the strike felt good.
And that's where that is a little interesting then, because obviously ball speed's jumped up really because you've absolutely nutted it. I mean, 0 mil, 1 mil low, I mean, that's basically almost a bullseye. But yeah, I would say that spin is definitely sitting in a slightly lower window.
Just a bit, yeah.
Couple under revs. Yeah. Sort of, it's taken a few shots to really see that come out with the variants, but actually I think you are looking at that now, a couple of 100 revs difference.
Yeah.
Great delivery. I mean, 274 carries, so you could argue just from that slightly lower spin profile, you are getting a few more yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to look at the averages, but yeah, I think that's a really good representation of what you can do with that club.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah. Sounded like a good strike.
It's a very good strike, yeah.
Yeah.
Fractionally down the left, but...
Wow, that's definitely spinning less now.
Yeah, I mean, I just neutralised it, the delivery there a little bit. It's still very good.
See now, so that's basically almost bang out the middle again.
Yeah.
And that spin is definitely in that slightly lower window. Oh, it's close.
It was a good strike.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, maybe like, again, a margin out the heel. But...
Sounded a fraction heely, but then... You have lived again, that's little heel side, but
now again that's 2.9, and that was a bit more of a fadey one. So I'd say that it is, yeah, good strike.
Yeah, so on that one, yeah, face slightly open, slight heel strike 4 mil, which again, you know, is tiny really when you look at the graphic, but you felt that was slightly
a little bit, yeah.
You could hear it was slightly heely. So yeah, that spin has just jumped up a little bit. So we've got a slightly heavier weight that we're going to put in the front of the Elyte, and a slightly lighter weight in the back. So we're going to try and, as much as possible, we were going to try and make this fair, right, between the two clubs. Yeah. So I think we moved, I think it was 8 grams forward, effectively on the GT280.
Yes, the 11
we're going to move,
front.
I think it's 7 grams forward on the Elyte. So we're going to, that's just the closest we've got in terms of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice shot.
Yeah, that felt really good.
It's funny, it's a lot less forward, isn't it?
It does look like it goes up more.
Definitely goes up more.
In fairness, again, I did think I hit up fractionally more on that than a couple that we were with the GT280.
Yeah, 3 up.
It's a great strike, though. It's like literally bang out the middle.
Yeah, bang out the middle. Again, spinning in that sort of 3,000 window. To be fair, with the Elyte, with the first few that you hit, we did see it spinning around that kind of like 3.2, 3.3.
It was 3, yeah.
So you look at it again, like, for a very comparable shot, you're looking at probably a couple 100 revs, which is what we'd expect to see. We've not moved huge amounts of weight around here.
No.
You know, 7 or 8 grams, I think it was, with the two drivers. So, yeah, I mean, this is probably where it's going to be, isn't it? Sort of just in and around and just slightly under that 3,000.
Like I said, yeah, if it's, 200 to 300 revs, it's probably about right. And what did we average earlier? 2.8, 2.9, something like that. But again, that's...
Yeah, that's a good ball.
Again, it was similar, very similar.
Yeah. I don't hate that shot, though. It's like you said earlier, if you set up your main driver to be a bit of a fade machine, you want to be able to turn this over. Yeah. I mean, that spin is still spinning at 2.5, just under 2.6, with a quite a big draw there.
Yeah.
Still very much in play. Like I said, if you're aiming to hit a draw, you're going to be aiming up the right anyway.
Yeah. 21's probably safe.
Ball speed's great. Efficiency's still in a really good place.
Yeah.
Oh, it's close.
Yeah, again, I think that was a slightly better strike, to be honest.
Yeah, it sounded good.
Yeah, the strike was really good.
It's good.
And I'm turning these over slightly compared to earlier. Again, like you said, 2.5 spin. I mean, it's not like it's dramatically dropping in spin, is it? It's not. No. I definitely think the GT280 is lower spin.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely, and it's a hotter flight. It seems to come out a bit flatter, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll take a look at the averages in a second, but they just seem to just go a little flatter and a little hotter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really good strike with a draw.
Yeah.
You did swing that a little quicker than the averages, like a 111. So you're obviously ramping up. Efficiency's really good. I mean, 144, 275 carry, 301. I mean, they're really good numbers, aren't they? Oh, and it is as well.
bad, is it? Like touchdown the right, but it's a good strike.
It's a good ball, mate. Really good. It's got the jump again, isn't it? It's a good number.
Again, it's got a little bit more in the tank, hasn't it, I would say, than previous. I mean, I would expect that to be over 3,000 with the weight the other way around earlier.
Yep, I would have said so as well. I think, yeah, you're looking again, it's going to be very similar. I mean, we'll jump over and we'll look at the compare page, but the reality is we're looking at a couple of hundred revs difference for those weights further forward, which is exactly what we thought we'd see. Very, very minimal differences in ball speed, and we did have a quick look as well at the club data. You've gained a mile an hour or so, maybe, a mile an hour over the course of hitting, which is normal, just warming up.
It's a bit more efficient though, to be fair, the Elite, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is a tad, 0.1 more efficient.
Touch
but yeah, you're talking then, there's a difference in ball speed of maybe a mile an hour or two. Interestingly, launch was a little up on the last set, but I think you probably hit a little bit more up.
Yeah.
Generally.
To be fair, it was only half a degree, wasn't it?
Not a huge amount more, was it?
No.
It did seem like the Elite was popping up in the air a bit more, to be honest.
Yeah.
Certainly looking at the ball flights on quad. So yeah, not a huge amount in it in launch. Maybe half a degree or so. Yeah. But spin again, like 150, 200 revs, very similar to the GT280.
Yeah, it's sort of 150-ish, isn't it? It's not loads, is it?
But 150-ish.
It goes to show that again, you get that tiny bit more ball speed, which I think again, like you said, was probably me just swinging that fraction faster. Even that's only 1 mile an hour. So people looking at that go, well, it's only 1 mile an hour, but that 1 mile an hour swing speed equated to that little bit more ball speed, and then that little bit lower spin just for manoeuvring them weights, and all of a sudden you've gone from 261 carry to 268 carry.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that could run out potentially close to another further, one club maybe for some people. Yep. So, all these little marginal gains that we look at in fits can start to add up.
Yeah, it's cool. And mini driver, mate. It's certainly an option for your bag, isn't it?
I don't hate it, actually. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it for you. I really don't.
I don't hate it. So the 2 questions to be answered: which one of these would I pick, and would I consider putting a mini driver in the bag? Well, first of all, if I was going to pick one of these, I would be picking the GT280, purely based on the fact that I think it looks a little bit nicer, it feels a little bit nicer, and it's just maybe got a little bit more in the tank as well, which I like, but I just found it a little bit easier to hit. Really, it feels really good. But the Elite Mini, honestly, a fantastic little mini driver. So if you're in the market for a mini driver and you want to get fitted for one, these are really your only 2 options, then definitely give them both a hit. And would I consider putting one in the bag? Yeah, I think I would. Starting to come around to the idea, to be honest, after hitting in that video and kind of a little bit more after the video. They do feel very comfortable. They do feel confidence inspiring. I feel like potentially they could be a bit straighter than my driver, in all honesty, and not a million miles back either. So it really is something that I'm open to. I'm going to do some more testing, potentially try and get it out on course a couple of times and see how it performs. But yes, I would consider putting it in the bag. So let me know what you thought of today's test. Let me know what you think about the mini drivers in general. Let me know if you would put one in the bag. As always, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. We will try to keep the content coming as much as we possibly can. As always, we appreciate all of the support you guys give us, subscribing, staying tuned, watching all our videos. So thank you so much for the support, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.